Now, this is kind of creepy looking. You know, you approach it and you think, man, this thing's going to attack me, but it actually doesn't. So, I am at the silicone deposit. I have some copper, some promethium, some iron, a bunch of crushed stone, which you just get no matter where you're mining. And what I want to do before I finish out getting some silicone is I'm just going to set this thing down here and get started on some resources. Probably the first and most important one that I want to do is stone dust, and because that's what we then need to use to make concrete. Now here's the thing. I am still kind of in old school mode. When I used to play Empyrion, you basically set your survival constructor down in one spot and that was it. You couldn't move it, it was there for the whole rest of the game. And I keep forgetting that I can now set this down and then pick it back up. So I can pick it up and take it wherever I want, which is really cool. So, to maximize time, I'm going to go ahead and just set this right outside, the mine that I'm starting here for the silicone and get it started, with some resources. So the way this works is you just put, your stuff into the constructor, whatever it may be, and then you have these templates over here. So this is food and medical. In order to make bandages, I would need plant fibers and aloe vera, for example. Salami's a good thing to make early on once you get meat because it lasts. It has the longest perish time. If you look on the tooltip there, it tells you how much food it gives me, how much health it restores, and its perish time. Whereas if I made a steak's going to give me a little bit more stamina, but it perishes much faster. So, food spoilage is a thing in the game for sure. This allows me to make weapons and tools, so I can, right out of the chute, just craft the weapons that I already have. I can make a flashlight if I want. This is the building blocks that you can start off with. You need a base starter to start a base. Then you can make steel blocks, small steel blocks you're going to use for your hovercraft and your small vessel and those sorts of things. And then these blocks are the ones that you would make for building a base. Components are components. So here's where we make our ingots, our stone dust. And let's get started on that first. So if I click once, it queues up 1 stone dust. And then if I turn this on, has its own power. It just makes 20 stone dust. If I hold shift and click, then it queues up 10 at a time. And if I hold control and click, it queues up 100 at a time. If I want to stop this, once it started making this, I have to turn the constructor off, and then I can click once to remove 1, shift click once to remove 10 at a time, or control click to remove 100 at a time. Anything that's queued up behind the currently manufacturing item, so let's say we're going to make some iron ingots, so I want to make 100 of those. This I can cancel right off, anytime I want to, as long as it's not the one in the active, slot here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and queue up some iron. We'll do some copper and we'll do some wood. Well, actually, you know what? No, before I do that, I actually want to get cement made because I'll need that to make the blocks. So we make the stone dust first, then the cement, and then the blocks. So let's queue up 100 or so of those, and then we'll queue up 100 concrete blocks just to get started on that. In addition to components, these are the devices that you can make. As we progress in the game and move up in level and so forth, we'll be able to make more of these things and more advanced versions of these things. So one of our early on goals, of course, is going to be to make a large constructor, which will then is the bigger version of this survival constructor. We can make more stuff. And then these are just deco blocks that we can't make in the survival constructor, but that's stuff that will come, later on. It's more, obviously for decoration. Here you have your filter. You can just filter on base stuff, or just capital vessel stuff, or just small vessel stuff, or just hover vessel stuff. And later on, these will be helpful because as we learn more stuff, this will start to fill up. So we can filter that out. So I just wanted to show you that, get that started. I'm going to continue mining the silicone here. And then once that's done, I'll pick this thing up and we'll head over to the water over there and decide where we're going to do our base. So I'll be back in just a little bit. All right. This little thing in front of me is a textured plant protein, and if I pick it, notice it gives me the quest on the right-hand side of my screen for that, and that can be used in certain recipes. Here's some more corn dogs. We might as well pick those as well. This is just corn. Okay, so corn that grows on the planet. And we will be able to, of course, plant a garden, get some crops going in the game. And then over here, so these are the berries that it wants me to pick. Excellent. So the only thing I have left to do to finish this quest is to grab alien honey, which is a kind of rare on Akua. I did read in the patch notes that they increased the spawns of alien honey, and oh, there's some right there. Perfect. Okay, that's great, because in my experimental playthrough for the few hours that I did it, I had a really hard time finding this stuff. Now, this is kind of creepy looking. You approach it and you think, man, this thing's going to attack me, but it actually doesn't. And so if I pick this, boom, awesome. So I finished the quest. I got 100 XP and 10 gold coins, which we'll be using later on. The lake itself also has resources along the bottom, which we can go get. But let's get cruising on our base first before we do too much else. Let me just walk around the lake a little bit and look at a couple different spots, and then when I find something that I think is going to work well, I'll bring you guys back, and then we'll get started with our base. I think I found where I'm going to build. I'm choosing this location, if it isn't already obvious, because it's really open and really flat. So, depending upon if I decide to stay here permanently, we'll have lots of room to build. Because keep in mind, guys, in this game, later on, I'm going to be building a capital ship, and capital ships are ginormous, as you can imagine, and so we're going to need to make like a huge docking pad and a huge hangar and all that kind of stuff, and so we're going to need lots of space. And I think for that reason, this is a good spot for us to go ahead and get started with our base. Now, we're not necessarily going to stay here permanently. In fact, we're definitely not going to stay on Akua forever. One of the major goals is to get to the point where we can actually get off the planet and go explore some other planets. But usually, when I played this game in the past, I have like one, major home base, whether that be on Akua or I've built on Oskatoon before, which is kind of more of an oceanic planet. Really neat place. And, but I think, for now, let's go ahead and just start here, because we've got, it's relatively flat. We got lots of room, lots of space. We can see, enemy drones coming when they start to attack us, which they will once we get our power going on our base. And we'll start here. And probably it might be cool to actually build, right on the shore, too, of the lake. So, let's plop down our survival constructor. And I'm going to kind of set it off to the side for now. And I got 51 concrete blocks going, but before we can actually start the base proper, we've got to make ourselves a core. So here's how this works. With the survival constructor, you have to manually make everything. One of the nice things about the large constructor and the advanced constructor after it is that it'll queue up all the preliminary items that you need for something, as long as you have the resources for it in your inventory. So I'm going to add all of the resource items. I think that's it. Put that in there too. You can also use your survival constructor as a temporary storage until you can actually get storage built too, if you need to. Let's put these down here. And let's just put those in there for now, just because I don't want to carry them around. I'm not going to actually do anything with them. So, in order for us to make a what are we doing? Core. Yeah. We need 6 steel plates, 4 electronics, 5 computers, and 3 optical fibers. So let's start with the simple stuff, the steel plates. That's going to be under components. And if we queue one of those up, that'll give us 10. Because notice it says 10 on the output count. Alright. Now, let's go Go back to here to devices. Now we need 4 electronics. And this is why I took the time to go ahead and get, copper and silicon and all that stuff, because we're going to need all of it. So to do 4 electronics, we need 2 copper ingots and 1 silicon ingot. So let's just queue up 10 copper and 10 silicon. Again, this is a pain in the butt with this little survival constructor, but once we get the big constructor built, then it'll queue up all this stuff for us. Oh, that's making 10 at a time. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's go back to components, and we'll just queue up 1 silicone. We'll stop this, turn this back on, and that should get us enough to get started here. Because this takes so long, remember I'm on normal settings now, right? You can speed up the construction process if you want to. So, one of the things you want to do is you want to, try and always have something going on in here so you're making the most efficient use of time. So we still need 4 electronics, so let's go here and let's queue up. These are output 1, or no, output 2, okay. So you get 2 at a time. That gives us our 4 electronics. Next we need 5 computers. Okay, so that's these guys. And they're going to need 2 electronics per. So we need a total of 14 electronics to do both the core block itself and the computer. So let's do 5 more of those, and that should give us 14. And then we're going to need optical fiber, so let's queue up 1 of those as well. No, actually we're going to need 4 optical fibers. This has an output count of 2. And then I think we have enough to make 4 of these. We'll see if it's going to do all of them. I think it will if I did my math right, which I don't always do. Okay, what's next? Oh, we need 5 computers. Never mind. Alright, so another optical fiber. Another computer. And, okay. We're going to need more steel plates, so let's go back here and do some iron ingots, and then we'll do some more steel plates. So yeah, you just, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to sit here and you got to, figure out everything and queue it up and get it going. I suppose I could, try and figure it all out in advance, but that, that's too much thinking. Thinking too hard. So I just kind of do it as I go here. So now we just need 2 more optical fibers, and that needs silicone, so let's get 10 more silicone going here. And then 2 more opticals. Actually, I guess we'll make 4 more. And that should give us everything we need to make the core, which is right here. So, while that's going on, I also want to get a motorcycle going. That's going to be our first vehicle of the game. So we need a motor for that. And a motor needs 3 nanotubes and 1 electronic. Alright, so we know we're going to need some more silicone, so let's get that going. And we know we're going to need some more iron for the nanotubes. So we'll queue up 10 more of those. Okay. Now we need 3 nanotubes. Oh. How come, Oh, steel plates. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold shift, and let's just make a bunch of those, because we're going to need them for all kinds of things anyways. And then we'll make, I guess this only has an output of 1 per, so we'll make the 3 nanotubes, and we'll need another electronics. Now that I think about it, I will probably actually speed this up in editing, just so it goes a little bit faster for you guys. And you know, I might even adjust the crafting speed on this. I wouldn't normally do that if I'm just, you know, playing for fun, but I know, you know, for making videos and stuff, time is of the essence, so I don't want these videos to be too long, so it might actually make sense to do that. We'll see. Alright, so we have our motor, we just need another nanotube, and then we could make our motorbike construction kit. Cool. The motorbike construction kit basically makes all the parts so that you can then go make the actual motorbike itself. It is your, excuse me, your first vehicle in the game. This is also new, by the way. The motorcycle did not exist when I played a couple years ago, or a year and a half or so ago. And it kind of sucks, but, you know, it does get you around a little faster than walking, so it works for starters, but we will be graduating to a hovercraft just as soon as we get a good secure base going. So this will be our first vehicle until that time. Motorcycle's done. And so is the core block. Okay, so before I start building on the base, again, like I said, I just want to kind of get things, always have something going on in here. We're going to need fuel, and for that we need promethium pellets. So let's queue up 100 of those, output of 10, and then we'll make some fuel packs. We'll get 10 of those going, and we'll need way more than that, of course, later on, but that'll get us started. Let's also queue up some more iron ingots. Let's do, say, 30 of those. We'll do a couple more coppers and a couple more silicones. And then I think what we'll do is we'll get some more stone dust going. I'm going to get a whole bunch of that going. Queue up 500, and then we'll queue up 500 cement. And then we'll queue up blocks. Okay, so the whole idea here again is just, you know, always have something going on in this little constructor because it takes, you know, so long for it to make everything, to make the most efficient use of your time. Excellent. Now, here's the motorcycle. Let's just show it to you real quick. And it's kind of cool, I guess, but it's a little weird to control. But it does, you know, it gets the job done for starting out. It doesn't have any weapons or anything like that on it. But we'll make use of it until we can get our hovercraft going. Let me get it kind of out of the way here a little bit. No, I guess I don't need to do that, because here's the thing. When you get off the bike, after a certain period of time, it kind of, you know, folds up, and then I think it might even despawn after a while, which is kind of, I don't know, I mean, I'm not even sure why the devs did that, but as far as I know, and I might be wrong about this, okay, because remember, this is new to me, but I think this thing will despawn if you leave it out, so, you know, generally you want to pick it up and just, you know, keep it on your hotbar, so, you know, if you get into an emergency, you got a GTFO, you can set it down and get the hell out real quick. Okay, so it turned off my light there. Alright, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode here, guys. When we come back in episode 2, we'll go ahead and get started on our base. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please consider leaving a like. And why do I have Green Eating Omicron quest up there? I'm not even on Omicron. That's strange. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Got sidetracked. Yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.